Uh, hey Tom,
Hey, Brandon.
how do you feel about water?
It depends, like are we talking about like in a glass form? It's delicious
Just
and
water.
healthy.
Yeah, my whole life I've been pro water.
Well,
Really respected water.
yeah.
Let's just say now, water is dead to me.
Oh,
Water is dead to me.
oh.
It's evil. It causes more problems than it helps people,
Wait,
as far as I'm concerned.
wait.
And I never want to see that crap again.
Do you want me to dump this?
Yeah.
I regret that immediately. I am soaking. That was a lot, and that was cold water. That was baby, we here. I am soaking wet. By the way, you fixed your hair. I did messy hair in solidarity. Your hair looks great now.
I did not touch my hair, Tom.
Okay, well, it got better from when you went downstairs to
When I jiggled my sump pump.
I went to go dry myself. Honest, I'm soaking wet. There's a puddle. This was a terrible decision. Folks, welcome. We here.
We steer.
You in the right direction. Welcome to another edition of the Grossi Perna Show. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna. This is GPS. And oh, baby, we got a show. Brandon Perna, if you saw clickbait because we're continuing the storyline, his basement got flooded last night. And so that's why Brandon Perna is currently in the corner of his kitchen and things are off the rails already.
Yep. Basement still flooded. Got a new sump pump put in last night. And in the middle of the night, it just stopped pumping.
Didn't want to pump no more.
So now it won't turn back on unless I jiggle it. So I had
Jiggle.
I had more water in my basement this morning.
Yeah.
And so I will be going downstairs to jiggle the pump from
There's
time
an
to
inch
time.
of water on my floor right now. Well, just in case Brandon Perna needs to leave us, we do have a very special guest today.
We got a guy who can assist me, if you will.
Yes, and his hair is looking immaculate. Ladies and gentlemen, the XFL MVP for that 1 week, that one drive. It was perfect. It was beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, the man, the meme, the legend, Mr. Kurt Benkert.
Ooh,
Thanks for having me.
Kurt.
The meme, the legend. I like that.
Right? You like that,
We need
right?
to have MVP. I'll take that too.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
How you doing, Kurt?
I'm living. I'm fantastic. Life is good. I'm ready to catch up with you, beautiful folks.
Let's go.
Right.
I'm wet and not in the fun way. So
What's the fun way, Tom?
Do guys get wet in the fun way?
Do boys get...
Is that what we're here to learn?
I mean, like, you guys don't have fun in like the bathtub? Like, just like rubber duckies?
Water
Plumber
parks?
Perna.
Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, we're talking about water parks. Yep. That's what that's what it is.
You're right,
Facts.
Kevin. You're right,
It
Kevin.
immediately goes there. Kurt, let's go. Yes. First things first, because this is the question that's on the chat. How the ribs feeling? How's the health feeling? You just came back from Hawaii.
Aloha.
Yeah,
First off,
aloha
yes.
indeed. How we feeling?
I am good, finally. I actually got cleared yesterday as of 3 p.m. to resume football activity.
Oh, yeah.
As of then. I've been working out for like the last week and a half, jumping off of waterfalls, doing some crazy stuff. It's been fun. And I actually
getting wet.
And back, I was wet all day long.
Nice.
Flip it. Yes.
Okay.
Flip it.
So your ribs are healed, is what you're saying.
My ribs are healed. I went to the chiropractor immediately after getting cleared. I got put back into place, and
Nice.
I'm good to go. Yesterday was a wild day. I actually was invited to a rookie mini camp in the morning that I could not go to because I was not cleared yet. And I hadn't been doing football activity. So to show up, having not thrown a ball for a month.
Yeah.
But yeah, yesterday was a wild day. It was It was wild. But hopefully new opportunities still,
Okay.
come up, and
Okay.
we're healthy now. So we'll see what happens.
And hey, you got a real good first drive on tape.
I did.
We got that. So, and listen,
Yeah.
a certain starting QB I saw retweeted it too, Mr. Jordan Love, because since the last time that Kurt Benkert and I have had a conversation, Aaron Rodgers got traded. And, Jordan Love, QB1, baby. And you know what's crazy, Kurt? Because I feel like you also described this to me too. Like, Jordan seems to be like a quiet dude. Everything I heard about, he's like a quiet, confidence dude. He went up for like that first press conference. He was just like, yeah, like I'm just here to handle business. Like, let's just go. Like, there were some really bad questions, like some really bad. They're like, how much pressure is on you now that you're taking over for Aaron Rodgers? He's like, there's lots of pressure. It's the NFL.
I love it. 83% more pressure.
It's true.
Specifically just said that. He should have just said that.
According to my
Hey.
Thank you, Hano. Thank you.
Love that.
But so yeah, that was exciting. QB1. But Kurt, we're feeling better. We're feeling cleared. So like, is the goal still this season? We're gonna try and make a little bit of a comeback and
yeah, the goal this season is to get ready physically, mentally, and get everything, in alignment so that if the call happens, that I can just go step in and do what I need to do.
like that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm just full alignment, been getting after it, training, doing everything I need to. But yeah, in my opinion, I'm like a week or two away from feeling like back to go, throwing wise and all that good stuff. So, just gearing up, getting ready to go. In the meantime, building business stuff and content. And
I want to ask you about some XFL stuff real
please.
quick.
I have a lot to say.
Nice. But I appreciate everybody giving me money right now for my basement. That's very kind. But today we are dropping these shirts at benchwarmerbrew.com, designed by Nick for an April Fool's joke. So instead of giving me money, go buy these shirts because all of the proceeds are going to the Alzheimer's Association. I'm going to share. The link is in my description. We're selling the shirts for $69. So it's like, I think like 55 of that all goes to the Alzheimer's Association. My fundraising page is there. I can afford to pay for my basement. So let's pay it forward. If you're like, hey, I'm going to help Perna out with that, either drop like a small donation on my page link below or go to benchwarmerbrew.com and pay $69 for the dumbest shirt you will ever own in your life. Shout out again to Nick for designing those. I was going to do a whole nice promo of it today, a video of it today, but my basement is effed. I'm not going to get a video up. So this is what we get for now.
Can you put the links in the private chat so I can throw that in the description, Perna?
Yeah, let me do that.
We did it.
It's a beautiful shirt.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
Honestly, yeah, I'm sorry. You know what, Kurt? I'm actually curious to talk to you about this. So the schedule got released last night. And it's everything. It's really like the team's social media's Super Bowl. It's their time to shine. And the Chargers came out, knocked it out of the park again. Absolutely phenomenal. Jaguars did well. Titans, I want to say, did well too.
Yep.
There was a few that were not good. They were not bad. For example, Dave Bakhtiari going after Wallers on Twitter last night, calling the Packers video booty cheeks at about 10 o'clock at night. Didn't have that on my bingo card. But as someone who is a social media savant, Kurt, how do you feel about, the team's social media teams, like kind of like their game stepping up a little bit, this kind of becoming a spectacle for them? Helps the game, and how can we get some maybe more traditionally minded teams into the 21st century, maybe with their memes?
So I think it's brilliant and amazing for the NFL for memes to be a real thing, which, some people are discouraged from memeing in their professional careers.
Wait, has that personally ever happened to you?
Oh, you wouldn't say. I know a guy that used to play for a team that got in trouble for going at a national media source for defending his teammate. I know
Oh,
that's a fact.
how
That's
dare that person do something like that?
How dare he defend his teammate with memes? But yes, that did happen. Was scolded, and maybe that was the beginning of the end. I don't know. But anyways,
There's a
I
Viking scolded.
digress. I think that this is. So when I went in with the, I actually went and met with the social media team with the Packers. When I was there before I was released, just to talk about game plan stuff, like see where they were. People have been asking me a lot of social media questions, and I realized how like their hands were so tied from the higher ups at B. And what I realized was that the whole goal, especially if you're one of these like legendary teams that's old school or whatever, you have like 50 years of fans on a wait list to get tickets.
Correct. Yeah.
You don't have to appeal to those people to get them to buy tickets. You need to appeal to their grandkids who are memeing for them to want to be season ticket holders when it gets passed to them 50 years from now. And they're like, what? I don't want this, because they can't relate with the team that's been doing it the same way forever. So my suggestion for a lot of these older school teams that do it a certain way is like, you have to get with the times, because the well is going to dry up eventually if you're just doing it the old fashioned way.
Please, let's not talk about wells or anything drying up.
Perfect wording.
Too soon.
I agree. I'm still soaking wet. Thank you, Brandon.
No, you're right. Like that's been one of the biggest like things for the NFL is they've struggled to identify like how do we become appealing to the young folk?
Yeah.
Like the people who don't necessarily want to sit through a 3-hour game every Sunday, like that are consuming content differently, that are consuming our content differently.
Sure.
They're going to watch Red Zone. Like those kids are going to be watching Red Zone because they're going to care more about fantasy or pick'ems or projections than they will the actual teams. But what they will resonate with are the Detroit Lions and their social media team.
Yeah.
Like that's like, that really is, if you look 30 years from now and you just had to guess, like there are teams that 30 years ago were crazy relevant and they suck now because their record sucks. But the teams that are actually like being talked about even more so are like, social media wise with the younger generation are like, did you guys see this on Twitter? Did you see this? Like, yo, they roasted them. Like, that's just kind of like the Cardinals. I don't know if you guys saw the Cardinals one, but that was abusive on many levels.
Like 30.
It was awesome. Like it was a little edgy, but it was really good. I think their schedule release was awesome because it was like, it came with relevant things and made it into memes and like merged two worlds. And like that, you have to meet people where they are, which is like, memeing on the internet right now.
The coolest one I thought was the Jaguars one. They just leaned into the whole NFL is scripted bit.
Yeah.
And it was really, really well done. And even there was this clip of Roger Goodell at some meeting making a joke about the NFL being scripted. And that's like 100% the right approach for them to be like, this is something people are like joking about every week. Although there is a certain sect of people who just believe it. And you can't worry about what people are going to believe. But to see them leaning into it makes me think like they're starting to get it. And it's just so much further behind of like where the NBA embraced like that whole culture of it. And it's like, think about like Red Zone. It's like watching football if you have ADD. But I honestly believe Red Zone won't be fast enough for the generation of kids coming up right now.
Yeah.
They'll be watching Red Zone and something else.
Yep.
Well, I mean, because you think about it, right? Like they've broken this down before. There's only like actual 10 minutes of gameplay, right? It's some like crazy number like that in an NFL game because the amount of commercials, it's incomplete and like how long it takes to set up. So I agree, because you look at other like fast-paced sports like the NBA, which is just constant back and forth. You look at even hockey, right? Like there's these sports that really appeal to like a younger generation who is constantly bombarded with a million things at once. You can't just sit down and like watch a 3.5 hour game and it be really slow. And of course, like this is generalizing, but I think the teams that really, as we're talking about, lean into it are going to capture more of those fans. And I always find it interesting because Kurt, you're talking about like the higher ups and not in Green, but the higher ups, right? And I'm very aware of the traditional mindset that exists on certain teams and definitely ties some hands or reduces the flexibility that some social media teams have. But I think at the end of the day, if you're able to engage with a younger fan base and not in a way that is like the NFL usually does it, because like they bring in like TikTokers and stuff.
Yeah.
And like it doesn't do well. Like Amazon did Dude Perfect, and like nothing against Dude Perfect, but like they brought him in for the draft, and they also brought him in for that one Thursday night game, and it got destroyed. And it was like, what is this?
Because Dude Perfect was like the biggest thing 10 years ago. Like they're still big and doing things, but like their target audience is not like the kids that the NFL's trying to like get engaged with the gaming. Like Nickelodeon's kind of like a little mixture of like they try to do that show to get it like correlated to younger generations and stuff. But again, it just, you have to be in it to really know what's relevant. And if you're not, you're just throwing shots in the dark.
Yeah. And it's just, it comes off as like not authentic. And I think that that's where they get into problems, because then they're just like, this is a joke. Like the reason why, like the Patrick Starr thing, right? Thankfully he left. But in terms of like Russell Wilson, like that's not what he meant to cook, you know, like that, like that became a meme in itself, and it was like super duper funny.
Yep.
So like when you have teams that really lean into it, like the Chargers, because they are honestly like the shining example of a social media team, which also has former Packers social media team members on it. So just saying. I think that that's like that sweet spot of being able to appeal to like younger fans while also just making something that football fans could be like, oh my God, look at these Easter eggs. Like, look at this and we can relate to it and laugh at it.
It's the Easter eggs, man. And like, it just takes a little more thought and just really being authentic with it. That's what matters.
I agree. So basically, Kurt, when are you going to go and be a social media manager for one of these teams? Because you got the memes, you got the arsenal.
I will work on contract. I will not go full time with any of these corporate entities. But no, I think like what my future in football looks like after I'm done playing, like I want it to be this modern media version of it. A lot of guys like that are in my shoes, or even like second string guys that have played for a while that go on, like they go to the booth and then they're like tied to the network for however long and like always traveling. Like I can't wait to not that I can't wait, but when that time comes, I'm really looking forward to doing media my way and just modernizing what that process looks like. And McAfee's done a really good job of it. He still is getting sucked back into the booth a little bit, but I'm really looking forward to this season, seeing what happens with playing, but if not, diving into the media side of it, because again, like you said, there's just so much opportunity if you're just fresh. Like, look at what you guys do. Like what you guys do on a weekly basis throughout the NFL season did not exist 15 years ago. Like you are ahead and people are coming to watch you instead of the booths and the broadcast. They're going to you for news and memes and that stuff. And like, they're not even relying on these NFL teams that are pushing out news. They're just copy and paste. They're essentially emails, you know, like on their Twitter.
Yeah. I mean, I've said this, like, there's no reason why I should have more subscribers than the Green Bay Packers. Like there is no excuse for that. Like,
but that's the human connection though. Like you give a human connection in like a relevant way and a modern way that brings light to a lot of things that are super serious in the NFL world that like people don't even joke about in the building, which that's where like I maybe like rub some people the wrong ways. Like I went about things very much like I do all the time, just me all the time, no matter where I am, just me. And I don't know. The NFL is unique, and watch 10 years from now, it's going to be so much different. 5 years ago, when I first got in the league, it was don't give your opinion to the media.
Yeah.
These are your scripted answers. And like, this is what you say, especially if you're.
So it was scripted.
The script. Oh, trust me. Media training 5 years ago versus now it's like build your brand, be your authentic self, like give your insight, but don't talk about other teammates and what their things that they have going on are, which is like, that's respectable.
It's valid.
But be you and build your brand. Where like, it felt like just that shift in the last 5 years, it couldn't be a more 180, but it's a good thing that's happened. So at least they're doing that with players. But like you look at Chase Daniel last year, was playing and then going to do like breakdowns like in LA in a film room. Like those are the types of things that who are you going to get better insight from? An analyst that's just whatever, or somebody that's in the room with the process and what it looks like, then going straight to the booth after.
That was kind of opened up, I feel like, by Brandon Marshall, who, while he was playing, was doing the Showtime show inside the NFL.
Yep.
And that was several years ago, but that was crazy. We're like, oh my God, like he's playing on Sunday and then recording the show, you know, on Tuesday or Monday, whatever, and talking about like what just happened this week. And
it's
you're
awesome.
right. That's kind of when they started, I think, like opening up their mind to it being like a positive thing to allow more
they're going to get
players
better
to talk about it.
ratings, like better views,
Yeah.
better ratings. Like I feel like shows like this too, like the more that you can incorporate players or different opinions or different viewpoints, either past, present, or future guys, like draft guys, like that's the type of stuff that allows every single perspective to be seen.
Well, I feel like the league in of itself, and you're talking about just 5 years ago, but I feel like as a whole, the league is so insulated in which it's like we do our own thing. It's very like behind closed doors. We put out our product and then that's it. There has been a shift, especially with certain teams, players, etc. I mean, let's just talk about Aaron Rodgers for a hot second. You know for a fact, like the Green Bay Packers were not thrilled that like he's going on and and that's nothing that even Rodgers is saying. But it's just more of like the Packers are a very traditional, like, hey, we like to keep things like close to the chest. They are able to put out like, silly, like, little videos and stuff. But even that is like a big step for them because they're usually like, we're appealing to not only the older generation, we have a brand to protect and a legacy to protect. Yeah. And like, once we get out of that mindset, like shows like Hard Knocks, for example, that, or even like the Bills. I just saw the behind the scenes of them drafting Dalton Kincaid.
Yep.
Like that in of itself, the transparency, if you
it
can
would change everything.
People eat all of that up because like this is fascinating because you don't get to see behind closed doors. And like if you're able to just, get a little peek behind the curtain, it gets people and fans more invested in your product because it's again that human connection. The Commanders, right? Like they showed the Pro Bowl noms last year and like Rivera telling all like the guys that they're making the Pro Bowl, and it was this very like heartwarming moment. The Cowboys, you had that coach draft his son. Like these are the kind of things that just like it spreads like wildfire, like fire. It is great for the business and it just helps.
Those are the things that make the NFL special. Yeah. Like that is what is special about the NFL. Why would you not want to show those things or be prepared for when those moments happen? And a lot of it, like that's really the case too. It's being open to share the message and then being prepared to have like a plan to not just like go on autopilot through your week. And like so many teams, like it's changing a little bit, but I know exactly what a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday post on social media is going to look like. You just copy and paste the team that they're playing against. Bam, it's out there. Like every single graphic looks the same. Like it's, you close my eyes and tell you what the script of the social media season looks like for some of these teams. Like you have to be like light on your feet and be able to like make light of whatever happens.
Yeah, it's basically like each social account just needs to feel like it's being run by a unique individual. Yes. It doesn't even have to be like who that team thinks their identity is, but it has to relate on like a personal level where like if you follow that account, you're like, oh, there's somebody back there with a great sense of humor, firing these things off. Or
give that intern a raise.
Yeah. And if it's not humor, it's just like, oh, they're providing like different stats or different takes on players or different access of behind the scenes stuff. Like not everything has to be a meme or funny, but just embracing like that authentic representation of this team it's good for the team, and it's also just more entertaining. It's more fun.
Yeah, you made a really good point. Like each team really should have its own voice on social media. Like, and I feel like that voice like is made up by the fans and like they're like, what is the cumulative like personality of this fan base? Find a way to like make that come to life through the voice of their social medias. Like, and the best teams do that in my opinion. Like,
and it's also like, and Tom's done this really well, and it took me a while to learn this, but like there's like something powerful and also embracing like your enemies as the team. So, there's so many like Bears fans and Lions fans that watch and Vikings fans that watch Tom and like Tom. And I think like social media accounts interacting with each other, ribbing each other when one loses and poking. And it's not like a thing where it defends this team, where I feel like a few years ago, you talked a little shit about, a victory or a team getting blown out. People are like, whoa, you can't do that. Now it's fun. And it shows like, oh yeah, we can. Like we lost a football game. We didn't score as many points. It's really not that big a deal. Let's have fun with it. And I think that gets other teams to embrace your account as well. And that's just as important, I think, in terms of building like the Broncos fan base on their account. If they can get Chargers fans going there, the way we're like I can't wait to see the Chargers social account drop the schedule release. Like, I never cared about the Chargers social media presence, but now I'm like, they're fun. They got good people running it. I want to support that. I want to tweet it out. And I think that's also like something they probably didn't think about years ago.
Yeah, that's such a good point.
I mean, they literally had Chiefsaholic in their schedule reveal. Like the guy who robbed a bank. Like they had him, like that is the perfect embrace, because some people are going to watch that, and if they're not like into it, like they're on Twitter or like social media, it's going to go over their head, but the video's still really good, so it's fine. But the people who understand that are like, oh man. And that's also how you're going to draw fans. Yeah. Because if your social media like team kind of sucks, like you're talking about, like those younger fans, I'm sorry, like I get it, you know, like mom or dad or grandpa or somebody was like a fan. I feel like in this new generation, that doesn't necessarily mean you need to be either. Like I feel like that was definitely like a hereditary thing where like it was handed down and it was like, oh, well, I'm a Broncos fan because my dad was a Broncos fan, and or like I lived in the area. But if your geography is no longer your focal point, it's more just like where you're hanging out digitally. I know that sounds like super like
it's real
like,
though.
Where's your digital location?
If you're hanging out on Twitter more and the Chargers are killing it on there, you're gonna gravitate more towards there. If you,
I'm gonna buy a Herbert jersey because of their Twitter. Like that shit's real. Like
they're gonna sell tickets because of that. Like their schedule release yesterday sold tickets.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's the teams.
That's a hard thing to do for Chargers.
Oh, come on. That was too easy. But again, that's the point is like at the end of the day, all of this has to, from a business perspective, lead to revenue in some way, shape, or form. And you're looking, in the case of an NFL team, you're looking for revenue for the next 50 years, not just like now. And building a social media presence, increasing your team's valuation. Like you can't tell me that the Chargers valuation is not more now than it was before just because their social media presence is killing it. Like they have a more recognizable brand and more people are interacting with them. Like regular companies outside of the sports world, like how much they're interacted with, how much their social media like brings attention to whatever product they have, that increases their literal valuations of their company. So you don't think that like the owners that are really with it see all these tech companies doing this and are like, hey, we need to be doing that for our football team. Yeah. Like it's already being done in other ways of business.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. I think at the same time, if you look at, you're talking about teams that are good right now. Like, let's just take the Chiefs. The Chiefs are going to be good for a while because they're going to have Patrick Mahomes, right? Sorry, Brandon. But at the same time, like if they start building that kind of like online presence now, it's going to help because eventually they're not going to be as good. And if you don't want to see an exodus of like young fans or not, like you're not bringing in new guys, then like what are you doing here? Because it's like you said,
at Packers, like look at it. Like if the Packers, in my opinion, for the last 15 years have been like pulling into the modern piece of social media, like people resonated so heavily with Aaron Rodgers as they were Packers fans because of Aaron Rodgers. Yes, there are a lot of people like geographically that are Packers fans forever till they die. Kids will be the same, but people outside of Green Bay or outside of the Midwest like that, they were only Packers fans because of Aaron Rodgers or because of Brett Favre. Yeah. Like back to back, just 30 years of just dominant like that. Who knows what's going to happen now, but you have to think of what is to come in the future and how do you prepare that? Just like you're talking about with the Chiefs.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And now it's like, okay, let's just say the Packers aren't good for a little bit, right? Then, or even a long time. Now it's like, okay, can you still rely on that? Well, it's Green Bay. Like we're always going to have a 50-year sellout list and like all that stuff. I don't know because they are a very strong brand. They are a very like it's important. But even like the Bears Packers rivalry, I think you look at that for Bears fans, for Packers fans, we're like, yeah, absolutely. Like that's important. I feel like that has lost some of its luster just because, you know, the Bears haven't been good for a while. We'll see what happens now. But like that tradition, I feel like you have to keep it alive in the sense that it has to evolve because nobody's going to care 20 years from now. Oh, it's the oldest rivalry in sports. Yeah, like Packers and Bears fans will still care, but people are like, why am I watching this on Sunday Night Football and why should I care? It's like, for me, I do not care about the Cowboys Giants. I see it every year. It's almost week 1 Sunday Night Football every effing year. Guess what? It is again this year. It sucks. Yeah. And it's not even like the games are not that good, 1. But 2, I have no investment in it. not even like I just like football, but I have no investment in it because there's nothing outside of it. I'm not in the division. And I imagine that's what it looks like for other fans outside of the division, besides being Packers and Bears fans, how they look at that rivalry.
That's so true. That's like, damn.
And the Cowboys got six primetime games again. At the Chargers, I think they gave 6 primetime games as well.
They deserve it.
And
for social media.
It's Herbert, and they're desperately trying to make LA a thing for football. But and I saw like you tweeting, Tom, that like, why did the Broncos get 4 primetime games? Because like their primetime games last year weren't good, but it's because like the Packers, no matter what, and you'll see this if you are bad for the next 7 straight years, as the Broncos have been, people still watch the Broncos games, and they go and they attend them. Like last year had some of their worst attendance late in the season, and it's still one of the best attendance records in the NFL. Their like season ticket waiting list is so long, and it's because they have that. But like if you're looking at these social media releases, if you're the NFL, if you're looking at one thing that might alarm you a little bit, it's the Titans one, where there are people out there who have no clue. Like to me, that's like such a hard thing to even fathom, that there are people who don't know what like the logos are. Even like I don't watch a ton of NBA, but I could tell you could show me all the logos and I'd say like what each team is, right? And those are all younger people. It's a city that has a football team, but it's not the biggest football city. There's a lot of other stuff going on in Nashville. But I thought that was a little fascinating, that there are people on Earth who don't know all the football logos.
Like, to that point, that is what honestly has changed my shift on social media entirely. Back in 2019, when I started like gaming competitively, I was running into kids all the time. And like the question was, like, who's your favorite football team? I don't watch football. I just play games. And I was like, not me as a kid. Like I was watching football, then I was playing games. These kids literally don't care. Like a good majority of them do not care. They don't know anything. Like if they play Madden, they play Madden, but like they don't know. And that started like making me realize, like, wait a minute, like this next generation is really going to be different. And football isn't just going to be this, like everyone's just running to it and needing it. Like football is in the next 20 years, like they're going to have to appeal to a different generation in a different way.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be able to be the way it's always been done. Like that won't happen.
Yeah.
And that's the only way for it to like grow. And I don't know, the social media aspect of it too. Like 5 years ago, like we keep saying, like all of these teams, they looked way different than they did before.
But the thing is too, is like you can do both. Yeah. Right. So like, for example, like this is hysterical because that's based off the Titans video, and the Falcons on Twitter changed their name to the Red Stallions. Like that is such a little thing that if you are an older person or just not on social media a lot, you're not even going to see that.
Yeah.
And like, you're just going to look at like the schedule release and you're like, okay, whatever. But like for the younger generation or the constantly online people, which is the majority of this generation and younger, like that appeals to them because they're like, you know what, they can at least like take a joke or something like that.
Yeah.
I think it just helps. Like you could literally dip both feet in, but you have to have like one foot in the future, like looking ahead. But as we all know, and this is across the board, the NFL is very reactive and not proactive. And then we're talking about specifically 32 individual teams who all have their own identity, who all want to do their own thing. You know, it's tough to kind of get them on the same page.
Sometimes I just sit back and I think about all of the fans the NFL earned and converted by making extra points longer. Once they made extra points longer, kids really started to get excited about football, in my opinion. That was such a win for the league.
I hate you sometimes.
Long extra points.
Oh my God.
That's what really did it. Hold
34 minutes in, and I got Kurt to say he hates me. This is a perfect day.
with a smile and laugh.
Yeah.
I hope your pump keeps pumping though.
Man, pretty much everybody eats bread.
Everybody eats bread.
Go pack, go back. Go pack. Go.
Everybody eats bread.
Even though they cut me and threw me to the wolves.
Ooh.
It's okay because then you became one.
Yeah, you come back leading the pack, baby.
That's it. Pack. I try to make it sound really cool. I try.
I liked it.
But Kurt, you also have things going on in which you're starting to make some of your own moves. Are there anything that you can tell us of things, or are we not allowed to talk about that?
Oh, we can start talking about it. There's going to be a digital audio production that will be happening multiple times a month. That
those are called podcasts, Kurt. I think that's what the kids are
I
called.
think they are. We're going to be launching a podcast. It's going to be
Okay, all
called
Digital
The Way
audio
I See
production,
It.
a DAP.
Yeah, digital audio production. Working on the framework right now of a podcast going to be called The Way I See It, and it's going to be an insight into all the things that I wish I was able to talk about while in the NFL, but I'm going to start talking about them now. Not just NFL stuff, but life. What does it look like? Transitioning, business, kind of just a full come along with me as I talk about all areas of life. That will be launching soon. We don't have a specific date yet, but we do have some pretty art for it that I have not available right now to show, but it will be launching. I'm also, I'm getting some feedback. Are you guys double hearing yourselves?
No, you sound great.
Okay, perfect. Also going to be revamping this ebook offering that I have launched. We did a little alpha test for 3 months and it did really, really well. And so I'm going back and I'm rewriting them in a more like one-stop shop version. And then I'm also making a course that goes along with it. So you can learn football from front to back and how to apply it in different industries, whether it's, just watching like a fan, whether it's maybe you're a fantasy football guy, there's going to be insights that can help you there. Maybe you're a gambler. Maybe that's what you do. And maybe there's NFL insights that can help you make better picks. I don't know.
Nice.
But I'm currently writing that out now. And have this full slate of releases scheduled throughout the end of the year. So that's what I've been doing outside of getting my ribs healed and cracked.
Fair. Because again, the goal is still like, if you can, to play this year, like get on a team, back up, like that's the thing. Is this kind of, because listen, Kurt, we're feeling for you because every single time we see you, we're like, yes, it's happening. Something happens, something occurs and gets in the way. Have you put kind of like, I don't want to say a deadline, but is it like, hey, like this season is like, I'm going to go all in, still try to be football. I have this, in the works just in case. I can probably manage a little bit of both. Is this kind of like the last year where you're like, hey, we're trying to like go for this, and then otherwise we're pivoting?
I would say something along those lines. Yeah. My wife and I have talked about it a lot. And I think the biggest thing that we're realizing as a family is like football takes about 80% of my time. And the things that I put 20% of my time into, they grow really well. They just kind of, they go, right? Like, and I have full autonomy over what those processes look like, what the products look like, and, sponsorships and all that other stuff. And I'm in full control of those, where football is always this after, like, I'm the last kind of call, like maybe we have room for you, maybe we don't, like, where it's like this whole nother realm of like value, in my opinion. So I would say that this year, I'm going to physically, mentally, everything prepare to do everything I can to play and to be at the best of my ability in that. Also, while not letting these other things take a background to it for the first time, where it's always been football and then whatever's left is these things. But I'm not on a team right now. I'm not in the NFL. I'm not signed to anything. Like, I'm building for the future and for right now. So that's kind of where I'm at. We'll see how much longer it keeps making sense to pursue and not just full time into media and content and products.
Yeah.
Because I know that's what the future looks like.
Yeah, exactly. And that's going to be there too. Mm-hmm. But like, I get that. It's kind of like, okay, well, that's going to go in the forefront if this is not working out for whatever reason.
Yep. So
we got to give them Scooter away.
Oh my God. Thank you.
We got to give them Scooter away. No. You and I just clicked at the same time.
Did it again.
Johnny John John!
By the way, Scooter Elway was in the schedule. Like it was in the thing.
Heck yeah. Thank you so much, Kylan. Again, you guys don't need to give me money for my flooded basement. If you're going to do something, pay the $69 for this dumb shirt so we can raise money for the Alzheimer's Association. My charity fundraising page linked below if you want to just do a direct donation, because you're like, I'm not paying $69 for that dumb idiot's face to be on my chest whenever I wear this shirt.
I do.
But it's a a cause that's important to me and my family. So we raised 24,000 last year. I got to hit 25,000 this year because that really bothered me. We were so close, so close. But I appreciate the donations, everybody. Kurt, I had a question here. Whoa, sorry, I hit the wrong button.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I still want to talk about the XFL, but
Yeah.
but before that, if you're looking at like a backup role in the NFL, and I don't mean where like there's possibly an opportunity, who's a quarterback that you feel like you play similarly to with like your skill set that you'd be like, that would be the perfect guy to back up because I play like he does.
Similar play style.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say my play style is very similar to a blend between what Aaron's looks like. Take the QB power out of Josh Allen, and I like his play style, like trying to take shots down the field, scramble to throw, runs if he needs to. Yeah, I would say one of those two. Yeah, I would say one of those two probably. And it's not like I'm not even talking about caliber, just how they approach the game and like the types of throws they like to make and using athleticism in a different way. Like they're not like Lamar Jackson running around, like or Josh is not, but still using athleticism to extend plays to throw. That's like my style.
Yeah, to me, Josh Allen is more like Derrick Henry, who's a quarterback.
Who just happens to be able to like hurdle people and throw the ball well.
Yeah.
With the what was your big takeaway from the XFL? I know your time there was pretty short, but like, was it a good experience? Was it just kind of crazy, tough?
Yeah. It was a unique experience. It was, I would say, overall good. I think what they're trying to do is really good. Year 2 will look a lot better logistically, I think. Front to back of what it looked like, basically the players are living in a hotel for 4 months. There's a team hotel. That's where they're staying. So you don't have to pay for room and board. You don't really have to you pay for one meal a day if you want to go get other food, but they have like a breakfast / brunch and a dinner every day. So you have to go find food for yourself. For me, it was a little difficult because most guys got there at the very beginning and they knew they were going to be there. Sure. And so they had their cars where I had to get a rental car if I wanted to go anywhere or do anything. Everything else is just shuttles back and forth from the high school field that we practiced at. So that was unique. The high school locker room that we used. There were no like recovery. There was like a pool, like a little tub with ice they would pour in, like as an ice tub, but like the amenities were what were really missing to be like recovered the right way. And so to go from NFL to that was a shock. But also to be in a locker room with dudes that were just trying to get it and like trying to make a way, like that was also refreshing too. There was like the complacency was not there. Like they were trying to get it. But logistically it was different. I went to a team that was like 1-4, 1-5. So they had a bunch of injuries. Their entire starting offensive line was out for the year. So like all 5 were out. So they had already been through like the next round of guys. So that was a challenge obviously in itself. And then just like receivers' sense of urgency, like trying to get caught up to like, where are they? I got caught a few times where I was like expecting someone to do something that like just should not have been expected, and that kind of got me in trouble on 2 interceptions. I threw 2 interceptions, and those were like, you just can't, if you hadn't been there since the first week, you can't just assume that someone's going to do something a certain way,
right?
And like read their body language and stuff. So knowing me and like I'm just a gunslinger, I'm like, you're going to be there, you're going to be at the right place, right time. I kind of expected a little too much. But besides that, like playing football as the starter and preparing for 1 week as the starter before I got broken, it was like electric. I felt like a kid again, like to go in the receivers room and tell all of them like, hey, this is how it's going to be done this week. This is what I want it to look like, to like take ownership of that process was like, felt like what I'd been missing for 5 years in football. So that for me, like filled a huge void that I had just been like, you practice for 5 years of anything. Yeah, I crave it, man. So it was really refreshing.
How would how does game prep look compared to like the NFL? I have to imagine the XFL, I don't want to say dumbed down, but like it definitely has to be simpler across the board. Yeah.
What we had, they had just fired their offensive coordinator midway through the season and we're starting to implement a new system. And it honestly was high school. So it wasn't even college, in my opinion. It was like more high school. So it was just like, hey, these are our few plays. Like, it's kind of what we got. In the NFL, the playbooks are made with multiple answers on one play. And if you have a bad play, you're not going to run a bad play into a bad look ever in the NFL.
Yeah.
You shouldn't unless you're caught off guard. Where there were many, many times in the game that I played in and started that it was a bad look. There was no answer. There was no check. And it was like, see what happens. And that is like a really uncomfortable place to play from that I had not experienced in a while. So that was unique, but just learning how to navigate like those situations live and all that. It was a fun challenge. Like I didn't look at it like this is my audition for the NFL. I truly looked at it like I'm just going to go out there. I'm going to run around, sling it. Like I'm playing catch up on a team that's 1-5 or 1-4, whatever we were at the time. Like that's just kind of what this is. I'm going to go show what I can do, run around and throw it. The other thing that really stuck out to me is that there's like a true hit on the quarterbacks. Like legitimately, you're almost incentivized in that league to knock out the quarterback because there are there's no fines or anything for late hits. You just get your 15-yard penalty and that's it. You move on from it. And like that altered the whole course of our game, where each team also, I don't know if many people know this, is incentivized to win the game.
Yeah.
If you win the game, the entire roster gets $1,000 bonus. What's the quickest way to ensure your chances of winning the game go up is if you knock out the quarterback. So there's no like if they knock me out of the game, which was clear they were trying to do from the first play, then everyone on the team most likely is going to get $1,000 bonus. You know what I mean? So it's like, dude, it's ruthless. It's like
bounty gate, but legal.
Yes, it is legal bounty gate. So I was a little naive going into that because like the hit that I got blasted on the first one, like no one in the NFL would have hit like that. Like they would not have gone through with the hit the way that it happened to me. So I just wasn't even like braced for it. I was just like, I threw the ball away. Then 2 steps later got blasted and planted and fractured my ribs. And I was like, I didn't even know how it happened because it like didn't register until after. I was like, oh wait, like they don't care. Like there's no you know what I mean? There's no protection. So that was a wake up that cost me a little bit. So,
and it's probably a mix of like you're talking about the bonus, but also like guys trying to put out good tape. And if you're making that play, obviously you don't want to hurt the quarterbacks, but like if you're the defender putting in that extra effort or whatever, like maybe that stands. A late hit, obviously not, but other hits that won't fly in the NFL, the fact that they got there and made it. That's.
Well, I think it's what you're talking about, Kurt. You also didn't have the experience of being there from the beginning, right? So I think it's a team culture, but then it's also like a league culture within the XFL. If you're having a bunch of guys who are just like hungry and just trying to make a name for themselves and like use this as a launching pad or like to get further opportunities or what have you, they're going to do what they have to do because it's not like, team, sure, we can get $1,000, but like I could also propel my career if I do X, Y, and Z, if I hit a little bit harder, if I do all this. So
totally.
Yeah. I mean, it's different, but it's like scrappy, right?
It's
and
scrappy.
I feel like if you have less regulation in a league where you're playing in like high school lockers and things like that, I feel like that just creates this ambiance of, hey, like we're just going to go out there and like we're going to play like really loose and fast and like kids and just do whatever we got to do.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I have never been hit so hard in my life. Like I took a season's worth of beating in one game, like 5 or 6 plays. But that one, I mean, like, dude, they would have like in another situation, like in college, that dude's ejected. Like in the NFL, he's ejected and fined. Where like it just kind of like it's the XFL, which that's on me for not even like protecting myself and just being naive to like what it really is. But like to your point, had I been there from week 1 and kind of felt what that ambiance was and like, this is the actual situation, totally different scenario. Like totally different scenario. But
what was Hines Ward like as a head coach?
He's awesome, dude. You can just feel like how he navigates situations and how he talks. Like it comes from like, I've been there and I've done that, but like not in a cocky way. It's just like, this is how it should look. This is how it should be done. And like, this is why I really liked him. He's a good dude.
Yeah, like I felt like that was a tough situation where it looked like guys liked playing for him. But like you said, there were so many injuries to San Antonio. It felt like it was a team that just it wasn't going to work out this season.
Yeah.
But definitely like an organization and a roster that like I feel like people were rooting for. And I think they were had some of the most attended games too throughout the season. Like the fans down there were showing up and supporting them. So that's cool to hear.
Yeah, their defense was like number 1 or 2 in the league, the best special teams unit in the league. It was just the offense was so depleted that like if you don't have answers on every play, you're not just going to be able to line up talent for talent and win games.
Yeah.
So that I had a lot of discussions with him, obviously, while I was there. And then after of like, what could it look like differently to like not let that happen if you run through injuries again next year. So yeah, I'm excited to see kind of what happens with all that situation. And that's still an opportunity if I go through this whole season and don't play in the NFL that like I have that opportunity again with them and other teams and stuff too. So
well, that was my question too. Is it just the XFL or is it also like USFL or like other leagues that could potentially be on your radar? Or is it kind of just like it's XFL?
It's just going to be XFL. So like I'm going to prepare like ready to go for the NFL this year, do all of my media stuff, all of the projects and everything, see what happens. If I get a call, great. If I don't, reevaluate what the XFL opportunity looks like, which like teams, rosters, all of that. And then like time-wise, what have these projects looked like and what are they kicked off to be, and see if I want to do that next year. So that's kind of where my lay of the land looks like and how I'm approaching this next 7-month stretch. Yeah.
I mean, it seems like you have the plan though, because you've been able to build something in the background that can become the prominent thing in case like football, which has more of a time limit on it, if that doesn't work out or pan out this year. So I mean, I feel like it's a solid game plan. I mean, it seems like you're excited about it too. It's like, that's the most important thing too. Like you have gone from something of like, I love playing football. It's great. I want to keep playing football, but if I can't, I'm going to do something else I love too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I feel like both of you guys, everything that you do, you're probably excited about, especially related to all the content and like throughout the NFL season. Like you don't know what each week is going to look like. You have an idea, but like who knows what's going to pop up and what content's going to be made and what opportunities are going to come up. Like that's kind of before I got picked up by the 49ers last year, I went through all of preseason, obviously not on a team. And I got a little bit of a taste of what it felt like to be like on the media side of the NFL. And it was fun.
Yeah.
Like, it was a great time. It's a great time. Miss being in the locker room and stuff, but it was still both sides have their positives. I
want to ask a Packers related question. Okay. Jordan Love taking over QB1. That team, I feel like, and it just is just from talking to some players and just kind of getting a feel, it feels like there has been a pretty significant shift. And it's not even just expectations. It really feels like this is a really young team. And like a lot of them are friends with Jordan. And it's kind of just going to have a different feel for it. But it seems like it's a bunch of young, scrappy players that just want to go out there and be better. Like Aaron Jones is referencing that, saying Jordan Love for 3 years didn't say a peep, never complained, nothing like that. We're all behind him. Everyone thinks we're going to suck. We're probably going to surprise some people this year. Do you see the Packers as kind of like that kind of dark horsey-ish team? It's like, hey, you know what? Maybe they're going to win a few more games than people expect. Or do you think there's going to be some growing pains, transitioning from Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love?
I think there's going to be both. I think what you'll see is probably some more excitement between players. Like, again, you talk about the young receivers and young people that are friends with Jordan. Like, you're going to see friends playing football together, and whatever happens, happens. In my opinion, that's going to be the Packers this year. Good, bad, and different. They're going to be a bunch of friends that have worked their butts off to get where they are, and they're going to go just let it go on Sundays and see what happens. And I think, like, that's, as a fan, like, what more could you ask for? And again, like you've seen that with Aaron many, many years ago, where like he was playing with his friends.
Correct. Yeah.
And it looked a different way. And then slowly but surely they get kind of exiled and all that good stuff. But like you kind of had a glimpse of what it looked like with a dude that's out there balling with his friends. And I hope that that's the case this year for them. Cause like, I want the Packers to do well.
Well, it's because like last year was this weird, like in between. It's like, okay, it's not a changing of the guard, gave Aaron a new contract, but things are different. It's like young. The team got younger, but like you still have Aaron there. And I don't want to say like it was almost like he was out of place.
It didn't support him for what
he didn't have an identity. It just was an identity. It was just like, all right, like it's still an Aaron Rodgers led football team. Like this one is like young, scrappy guys who are going to go out, play football. Because like the way that AJ Dillon came on here and like talked about Jordan Love, he's like, yeah, he's one of my best friends. Josiah Jaguara, who doesn't get a lot of targets, I think is going to get a lot more targets under Jordan Love because they know each other. They go to each other's weddings, like all that stuff. I think you're going to see a little bit more of that young camaraderie, and it's just going to be a different feel this year. Like I'm excited to see it because it's just it's going to be something different.
Yeah, I mean, I think change is good for everybody. Like at some point, like change feels good, and like I can't wait to watch Aaron play in New York. I can't wait to watch Jordan play in Green Bay, and I can't wait to see like what do the new rivalries look like between each side of it. You know, like that's like the storybook of the NFL season. Every year is so different, and it's like I think that's what I love about the game the most. It's yes, the way that it goes is the same every year, like teams battle this and that, but like every year is its own story. Like it's a true yearbook, and you look back at it and you're like, oh my God, like that's never happened before. Like this has never happened. Or like this dude came out of nowhere. Like you truly don't know when week 1 hits what the hell the year is going to shake out like, no matter what predictions you have.
It's Jordan Love, Justin Fields week 1. Like, is this like the new page, like in the rivalry to make like the Bears and Packers an actual rivalry again for like the new generation? Like there's exciting stuff to come out of it. And listen, like the Packers could be bad, but it, like you said, it's something different. And I gotta be very honest too. Aaron looks very rejuvenated, like going to New York. I think that he mentioned that it's more of like a kid-like mentality because it's something different. You do the same thing for 18 years and then you go to a different building with different people. And like, there's that familiarity there, right? Because Cobb is there, Lazard is there, Hackett is there. So that helps. But at the same time, like the fact that he's going to be there for like OTAs and stuff like that. He wasn't.
When's that ever happened? Holy shit. When's that? I don't know.
It's been a little bit. And I know Packers fans are a little like salty about it. And I get it. But, you know, I think it also just shows a change was needed for everybody. So like the Packers, they're going to go into a different path. And like Rodgers is going to do something different with the Jets.
Totally
week
agree.
1, they're going, it's Bills, right? Jets, Bills, week 1?
Yeah, Monday Night Football.
That's an insane game to start the season off. Like,
dude.
And I know Hackett and the offense will be similar. So that's going to be like a big thing. But, you know, Peyton Manning, took him a while to get acclimated in Denver. Tom Brady, it took a while just for everything to click there. Like I'm one thing I'm watching to see is like how quickly does that Jets offense look like Aaron Rodgers has everything under control. And I think there's a good chance it could be pretty good week 1 because it's Hackett and the same thing. But like,
I think it's the receivers that they brought. It's those guaranteed plays that he knows the body language of like Lazard and Cobb. Like those are going to be, that's why he has those two there. Like I can guarantee that it's the familiarity with like the key situations that those guys were utilized in. Like when shit hits the fan on 3rd and 8, like that is the stuff that changes a game. And that's why Cobb and Lazard are there. Like that is it. And it'll give everybody else time to grow throughout the season and get caught up to speed. But I'm excited to watch those first few games because I feel like I'll be able to break down like really what the situation is and the timing just by watching him play. Like when I go back and watch the film, I know how his feet should look on certain routes, and I'll know like, was it him not trusting it? Was it the receiver in the wrong spot? Like I'm really excited to dive into what the Jet stuff looks like because I know what it should look like on one side. So we'll see how well it matches up throughout the first few weeks of the season.
I mean, you also get this.
Sauce.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's a
little Freddy Krueger-ish.
Yeah, it's a little strange. Like
Sauce
this
on my
doesn't
hands, no
translate
remorse.
like she just murdered
Sauce on my
somebody. Like that
hands.
doesn't.
Yes.
I don't know if that translates sauce. But no, the Jets will be an interesting team this year, and like I'm obviously going to keep an eye on them just because like Rodgers and Cobb are playing there and Lazard. So yeah. So I mean, I didn't want to say it, but yeah.
God, I gotta go. That's that. Yep.
You gotta go.
Cut.
But Kurt,
That's
we
funny.
appreciate you coming on, man.
Thank you guys.
What you got going on in the life, and what can people look forward to seeing coming from one Kurt Benkert?
Yeah, just if you follow along on my Twitter, I will be announcing all the new things that I have going on right now. If you're still looking to learn a little bit more about football, you can go to my website, kurtbenkert.com. There's a free QB tips guide if you want to just get a little bit of insight there. And then there's also the 3 other ebooks that I have. They will be made cumulative in about a month or so, but I will, if you buy those, I'll just send them to you on the back end. So we have a few products out and cool stuff on the way.
Hell yeah.
Rock and
Sweet.
roll.
I
Well, we
appreciate you
appreciate you, Kurt. We'll be talking real soon. But
Yes.
buddy, appreciate you.
Alrighty. See you guys.
Take care, bud.
Coming, Kurt.
Thanks.
Au revoir. That was Kurt Benkert, everybody, coming on the GPS. We got another 6 hours of programming today. We are going to find out what is Brandon Perna going to be making for lunch, and are those
Ooh.
bananas in the background going to go bad before the show ends?
No, I eat those bananas. I'm a banana man.
Yeah, that's good.
About every day, I got a good old banana.
We got a good old banana. So I'm imagining you don't have anything coming out today, Brandon.
No, the pump was working. I was sucking water out. I thought it was going to be dry this morning, and then I went back down there. It stopped working overnight, so there's a ton of water. I got to suck that back out. All I'm asking, go check out, support the Alzheimer's Association, either with the shirt or just drop a donation from the link below. We're trying to get to 25K. We're, I think, close to 8,000 right now. I don't know. I haven't checked it during the stream. I know we got a couple donos during the stream, so I appreciate that.
And then tomorrow...
Yes, hoping, assuming we get everything worked out, and I can go work downstairs. I'll be streaming the XFL Championship game, trying to raise some more money for the Alzheimer's Association. But yeah, XFL Championship tomorrow. Defenders, Renegades. A shot.
There you go.
A 4-win team sneaks into the championship, Tom.
I didn't even know that. So
Yeah.
it's not Kurt Benkert. So Tom Grossi's attention span went down. Well, I hope that sucking goes well. But real quick, because we didn't get to talk about, how do you feel about were you able to look at the Broncos schedule? Like, was anything stand out to you besides the fact that you have all these primetime games still?
No, our tough stretch is when we play the Packers. We got like the Chiefs, the Packers, and the Chiefs again. I'm like, okay,
Yep.
That's gonna be. Oh, but we play the Chiefs on my birthday, so.
Oh, that's gonna be a good stream.
I'm scared because
It's gonna be a good stream. Gonna be a good stream.
Every time the Broncos play on my birthday, they lose. And I went to a game when they played against Peyton Manning, and it was a good first half. And then I just watched Peyton Manning just pick them apart in the second half and just destroy them. And that was the moment I was like, Peyton Manning's one of the best quarterbacks I have ever watched play football. And that was before he was a Bronco. So I really hope I don't say that about Patrick Mahomes on my birthday.
Hey,
Unless
maybe
he's the next Broncos QB.
Okay, all right. Well, I was going to say maybe they finally beat the Chiefs on your birthday.
If they end the streak on my birthday, Tom, it will be a significant day, not in just sports history, but human history.
It honestly would kind of be a little bit of a. Is that the first time they play him or the second time they play him?
It's second.
Yeah, so like you're kind of. I don't want to say you're kind of hoping the Broncos don't win the first time, but you're kind of hoping that they're just like, oh, they happen to lose and they win on my birthday. That would be.
We'll see.
I'm
kind of rooting for this situation. The Broncos only win 2 games next year, and they're both against the Chiefs.
Perfect. Lose against the Packers.
Sure. I'll spot you that win.
All right. Oh, thanks, buddy. Appreciate you. Well, Perna, hope things get better soon. Hope to be able to stream the XFL Championship tomorrow.
Yep. What do you got doing cooking today, Tommy?
You know, I don't know if I've ever done this. I don't know, but like I feel like there was enough stuff. I might do every NFL fan's reaction to the schedule release. I might mess around and put on 32 jerseys and just do it. I don't even think I'm gonna write anything for it. I think I'm just gonna put them on. I'm still soaking wet. I've sat in this entire thing like I've sat in water.
Oh, dude, I was wet for like 4 straight hours yesterday. My shoes were just waterlogged. My pants were covered in water because I was carrying buckets upstairs and out because I wasn't sure if the drain was going back into the pump area. And then, so we both wet boys. We're just the wet boys.
Wet, messy hair boys.
We're the wet bandits. Home Alone 2.
That's it.
Nailed it.
That's it. But folks, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna. This is G P-S. And you have been